The next topic for tonight is that the motion for the Toronto housing market is going to crash. And the Prime Minister, please welcome Astrida.
As the Prime Minister, I define crash as the price is going to fall. Well, my first argument is that the public is not easily deceived. One day, we will not want to spend a significant portion of our income on our house, or our apartment, or our condominium. One day, we're going to wake up and go into Rona and Home Depot and call some cement factories and price out some hardwood flooring, and we'll figure out that we're going to go on strike, you know, as a mass of people, and tell them we're not going to pay that amount when it only costs $50,000 or $100,000 even to build a bridle path home. My second argument is it's an adjustment of the economy. So it's always going to crash. It crashes in every major municipality on a regular basis, whether it's LA or New York or Vancouver. You know, the mental health professionals are trying to jog our brains, saying, once again, we don't think. How could the wood that we had yesterday be worth $100,000 less than the wood we have today? Now, what happened in one day, 24 hours? You tell me. So, yeah, it's them trying to mind manipulate us into thinking as opposed to telling us in a 1 + 1 = 2 manner. So, of course, these things are going to happen because they're trying to wake us up, and they want to lead us, see, so they do it in an evasive manner. They don't want us to take control. Otherwise, they'd educate us, as I said, in a 1 + 1 = 2 manner. The second or the last argument is we're going to wake up and say one day we don't want to cause global warming. So we'll get rid of houses because houses do cause global warming. They're so big, they've got to be heated, they've got to be air conditioned, and they're too much to take care of. So, yes, one day it will crash permanently.
Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. And arguing against the motion, Leader of the Opposition, Adrian.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister representing the government came up here and said that the housing market in Toronto was going to crash, and one of the reasons they gave was that the public isn't easily deceived. And it's sort of like, which public are they talking about? This is election day in the United States, for example, and half the country thinks that Romney's a viable candidate. I mean, I think the public is easily deceived. I mean, this same public, voted in Harper more than once. I honestly think the public is easily deceived. So if people are willing to accept the notion that housing and houses and condos are good and that everyone has to own their own place for them to be completely happy in the world and have a front yard and a backyard and, a library and a little study in their home, I think people are going to buy that. And people have bought that for the last 50 to 100 years now. So people are continuing to buy into that housing dream. But outside of that, there are other reasons why the Toronto housing market isn't going to crash. One is immigration. Hundreds of thousands of people or thousands of people are coming into Toronto every year. It is a beacon for people who immigrate to Canada, and all these people need somewhere to live. They can't live with their families forever, and because of that, they do buy houses, they do buy homes. There is not enough demand for all the people who want to buy housing in Toronto. That is shown by how the prices keep on going up and up and up and up. Now, one might say that, well, interest rates are going to go up, so that's going to crash housing, just making an argument for the government since we didn't really get any. And I would like to say, that because of the euro crisis, for example, because of the sad state that the United States economy is in, interest rates are going to be low for a considerable period of time. And with low interest rates means cheap money, and cheap money means cheap loan costs, and that means people can afford to buy houses which are more expensive and bigger and better and have more acreage than they ever could before. That is why, for all of these reasons, the housing market in Toronto is not going to crash. And furthermore, historically speaking, housing over a period of time, and the government did not mention the time period in their argument, has gone up. Over 10 years, over 20 years, over 30 years, housing has or real estate in association with housing has shown to appreciate in value. It has always shown to appreciate in value. You just have to wait long enough. You just have to have a little bit of patience. And the opposition believes that people are not running out of patience. They're not running out of investment opportunities. They're prepared to wait for their housing prices to go up. So for all of these reasons, I firmly believe, and the opposition firmly believes, that housing prices in Toronto are not going to crash, and don't let the fact that I own a condo in Toronto bias you any way, shape, and form of that argument. The opposition wishes to oppose.
Thank you, Adrian. And for closing remarks, 1 minute for Madam Prime Minister.
Leader of opposition. I worked on the premise that they're not going to be easily deceived. So then, in other words, we do want to get rid of houses in Toronto once we wake up. And one day we will wake up, and the immigrants will wake up. You say it's not going to crash because we're going to have lots and lots of immigration. Well, why do you want to live in a city, which is a can of sardines, Toronto is a can of sardines, and own a house? If you're going to live in a can of sardines, why not own an apartment until you move out to some rural area where you have some land that you can farm and, have a nudist camp or something. And then you can have a house. Then you need a house. But why do you want to live in a place and have such a big house where you can yell at anyone, you can smell their barbecue, you can see the way they dance, you know their family politics. So no, you wouldn't want a house in these areas. So I say the market is going to crash. Not everyone does want a house. Only the stupid people want a house.
And now for the vote. Those who are voting for the government's argument, please raise your hand. And those who are voting for the opposition's argument. Thank you. And the motion is defeated, 2-20. Thank you.